Tonight, the wait is finally over as the Philadelphia 76ers will begin their 2021-2022 season against the New Orleans Pelicans. They're looking to gain some redemption in their season opener after, as we all know about, their terrible Game 7 loss to the Atlanta Hawks last season. It's been talked about ad nauseum, and after a very chaotic offseason, mostly centered around the Ben Simmons drama that's still continuing after he was comically kicked out of practice yesterday, which I'm sure brought a smile to all your faces, as it did mine. But forget about Ben because I'm here to talk about today the three most interesting things about the new iteration of this Sixers team. What three things I'm looking at the most for tonight? And number one, it's got to be with the youth. Tyrese Maxiell joining into the starting lineup, I presume. I'm hoping Shake Milton doesn't start. There's a few rumors, but I'm assuming Maxiell's going to be the starting point guard. I'm excited to see how he, as well as Isaiah Joe and Matisse Thybulle, look tonight. Now, Maxey as a starting point guard, we know that he hasn't really been a true point guard thus far. He's had to take on the duties at times, but with George Hill and Shake Milton, also part of that bench unit last year, he hasn't really gotten a chance to really have to create. And I'm interested to see, how much creation ability does he already have? Obviously, he's very young. He's going to be able to get better with that as time goes on. But I'm interested to see how he's able to grow, how he grew just this past offseason, just after one season. Is he already a better creator than he was last season? And he's gonna have to take on that burden whether he's ready for it or not, because we really don't have another point guard until we trade Ben Simmons. Hopefully, get a real ball handler in here that can handle that responsibility. As for Isaiah Joe, he's been hyped up through the roof in the preseason, and with good reason. He's looked like a true sharpshooter. He's ready to really contribute off the bench and drain threes. And as we know with Thibault, he's one of the best defensive players in the league, arguably maybe even the best wing defender in the league if he just got the minutes necessary. I'm interested to see what his role on this team looks like, because last season, with Ben Simmons in the lineup, there wasn't a lot of floor spacing opportunities to have Ben Simmons and Matisse in it at the same time, because that just kills your spacing. But with Ben out of the picture now, hopefully for good, I'm interested to see if Matisse gets to play more than he has his first two seasons, because all those shooters will be around him. Now, second on my list, I'm interested to see how the bench fares, because as I was just touching on, the spacing on this team is a lot better now, and I think a lot of these bench players are going to be able to play with Embiid more. We're going to be able to keep Embiid in for longer stretches, because with Ben Simmons no longer being on the team, we're going to be able to have Embiid, and with some of these bench players, just have a full four out Embiid in lineups. George Niang was a big signing. He's noted for his shooting. He was very productive for the Utah Jazz off the bench last season. Korkmaz re-signed on a nice 3-year deal. Danny, I'm assuming he's still a starter, but he'll be part of those lineups too. And of course, Seth Curry, after his fantastic playoff performance, he'll be there to stretch the floor as well for Embiid, and Isaiah Joe as well. The matter of fact is the Sixers have more shooting than they have in ages, and I'm really excited to see how that works out for us this year, because that's obviously been a weak point for us. And until we trade Simmons, it might not matter, because this team, as currently constructed, is not a championship contender. But if we are able to trade Simmons for a real asset, or for real starting players, this bench unit could really help elevate the team when the playoffs arrive. So I'm excited to see how the floor spacing looks as well for the bench. And finally, touching on Tobias Harris, who obviously is the second best player on this team now with Ben Simmons out of the picture. There's a lot of arguments who's the better player between them, but I think Tobias obviously is the clear-cut second, number two guy behind Embiid now. And I'm just interested to see what that role for him looks like, where he'll be able to be confident that at the end of games, at least at the start of this season, he's the guy we're going to go to. Besides Embiid, of course, but when it's coming down to we need a big three-point shot here, we need to get a bucket, we need someone to drive to the lane, get a foul, it's going to be Tobias, at least for these first few months. We're going to have to see how the team shakes out. But for the first few weeks and months, Tobias is going to need to step up. And against New Orleans tonight, I'm interested to see if he's able to do that. But overall, I'm anticipating a nice season-opening win for the Sixers, because with Zion out, New Orleans is pretty barren in terms of roster construction. They don't have anyone who can stop Embiid for sure. As much as I like Valanciunas, he's not exactly a top-tier defender. So I'm anticipating a Sixers win. So more or less, I'm more excited to see what the roster construction looks like, and less about do we get the win tonight, because I think that's a foregone conclusion. But hopefully the Sixers this season will continue to play excellent as they did last year. I think the first few weeks and months of the season will be a little rocky until that Simmons situation is figured out. But once we trade Simmons, I think this team, depending on who we get, could actually be a huge threat in the East. So I'm excited to see how the season shakes out. Thank you all for watching. Make sure to subscribe, and I'm going to be having more NBA content as the season goes along. Thanks for watching.